experts with people like Dwight and Dave was on earlier. And Michael, you could have been part of that too. This is today we're going to be talking about Hacktoberfest, which is essentially a celebration of open source and how to contribute to open source. So we'll be doing that live. We'll learn more about it. We'll learn about some of the things that are happening as far as just fascinating craziness that has really changed within the last couple of days. And I'll bring it up. I'll tell you guys all about it. And you guys feel free to tell me about it. Again, the presentation hasn't started. We're just open. So feel free to unmute yourself. If you're welcome. This is the normal event where we would sort of, were it not for COVID-19, we'd all be sitting around there. I would be wearing the same shirt. This is not my pajamas, just to be sure. Thank you. Thank you. You know, the best part of Yolanda of making jokes is I need to see people laugh and all that. So I appreciate the fact you have your video on and seeing. This is the shirt is I consider it my architect shirt because when I walk around the office and they see this, they think it's ridiculous, and no developer with a right mind would wear that. That's got to be the architect. So that's usually what I do with that. So it's exactly.
No, I could go for some donuts after looking at that shirt.
Mm-hmm. I have in my work computer I have some background too, so I can, instead of hiding myself behind something funny, then we have the backgrounds. So have you guys seen this? My dad might recognize this. So have you guys seen the backgrounds for these little devices? Have you guys tried it? So again, just feel free to unmute yourselves and let me know what you guys think. I know that, for example, not only do they have some great backgrounds, you can put your own backgrounds there. There we go. And be part of whatever you wish. There's even video backgrounds. This one's a little bit annoying. You're going to really hate me after a while for this. And then I can just simply turn off my background and then see what's going on with you guys. What kind of backgrounds do you guys have? Do you guys have anything, or do you guys prepare to do it without backgrounds?
How do I set my own background? I want to set it to something else.
You can. Ooh, I like that, Yolanda. Wow, that's amazing. So she's invisible. Fantastic. Ooh, she's in space.
Actually, she is space.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. Pardon me. Just hold on. Just a minute. Just hold on. It's all the time. My apologies, guys. So that's what you can do with your backgrounds. By the way, that was the whole presentation there. So give me just a minute. You guys talk among yourselves. I'll be right back. I'm not going to tell you what I'll be doing. That's not what I'll be doing. I'm getting a drink. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
I like the cat.
Yes. He's listening.
I like that background.
He's listening. Pepic.
Oh. Pepic, yes.
I like cats.
Fantastic. So Dwight, what do you use the do background? Oh,
I had a whole story behind
wait
that.
Wait a minute. I know this background.
I had a whole story behind that one. Like the ventriloquist actor. I can talk without speaking.
It's amazing. I am so impressed. He's a ventriloquist. Amazing. We had a lot of fun. Dwight's my old boss. We had a lot of fun with Zoom doing these type of things. As you can figure it out, that's actually not Dwight right there. And well, yes, Dwight looks strange there. That was before, right? You had a different hair back there. Nice. Oh my gosh! Oh yeah,
Remember that?
I know what that is. That's fantastic. Just a minute. I know. Just a minute. So I love that one. So, but my dad Ruben there has the best background. That looks so realistic. That's fantastic.
Anyway, I think that do background story was that Oh man, I can't remember, but this is while you were there. We were trying to get a release in or something, and someone had mentioned, why don't we just do to do? And it was like perfect. It's like, oh, I gotta have that background. And so
You
I
can
found
put
the
it on.
background. Yeah, and it was just a catchy thing. Do to do.
Oh, it's amazing.
And I remembered that, right? From Mountain Dew.
Yes, yes. Oh, it's amazing. But I missed this background where I actually was there at the event and all these places. But yeah, that's the best, Dwight. When you got something that's perfect to what you're talking about, is always the best of the things. That's awesome. Have you guys seen that now they have in the video filter, you can actually put things on there, like all of a sudden it's all timey background. They don't change much. There it is.
I like
So,
that.
you like that? Yeah. Or I can do this more appropriate. So people know. I like how you can sneak it in underneath though. You can do it. I can look cool. You know what I mean? These are fantastic. They should have a cat. That's
Yeah.
what they need. So there we go. Okay, well, hold on a second. There. Well, that's not a cat. I thought that was a cat. So that'll be fine. With the cam, I'm not going to turn it on, or else I won't be able to turn it off. But the snap cam is a wonderful thing, part of that. So you know what I mean. So it's amazing. All right, as we wait. So usually what we do is we wait around 6:45. We want to make sure everybody shows up here, that they're able to come in at the beginning. Sometimes these, this is BocaJS. On first Tuesday of the month, we have BocaJS. We are now connected. And in fact, to let you guys know, after at the end of the month, where we're going to have the great Dwight Goins and several other people that are going to join us, be the experts. That's definitely not me. It's going to be them, the smart people in the world. Once they join us, we'll do a little bit of an announcement that we're going to be joining both groups. But at the end of the month, we have that event, Ask the Experts. Please join us there. I'll have a slide about that there. This is BocaJS, and one of the things with BocaJS is usually, and I'll emphasize it by having the background for BocaJS that I had a second ago, usually we look like this. It's a packed hall between 30 to sometimes 80 people, and one day we had 80 people. Join us. There's 2 live screens over there. I sit in front of, and then all this this lights and all these things that I have online. By the way, not to kid anybody, but I do have lights. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's a full. I'll take a picture of it so you guys can see the full setup. Looks like a radio station. But we have the recording, and we do the exact same thing. So even if we go back, if you don't join us until we come back, Bob's been there. My dad's been there. Ruben's been there. Dwight's presented there several times. What we do is we have the presentations, and we have these big meetings, and we don't get a chance to discuss back and forth. There's no discussion, as far as seeing each other. And so
Could Ruben unmute his? Could he mute his microphone?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. There you go.
Maybe it's the cat talking.
It is the cat.
Sounds like a TV.
So the one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that you guys are able to ask questions. So in this one, I'll be doing the whole presentation, but I do want you guys to interrupt me. Okay, this is not a political debate, so it's perfectly fine to interrupt me, perfectly fine to give me your opinion on whatever we'll be talking about there, and I'm perfectly fine with it. So I want to be frank and upfront about it, even though I'm Damien. I'm going to be talking about it, and it is a chance for you to discuss about it. So thank you guys all for joining us. So. We sometimes like to break the ice by saying, for example, what does your keyboard look like? I'm going to talk about what's in front of you guys. What are you guys drinking? I'm drinking an old-fashioned Coca-Cola. This is a little bit bigger than it used to be. Maybe it's not so old-fashioned. Water, that's pretty good. What are you guys drinking, all that? Some more water? That's good. That looks like gin. Bob's drinking gin, straight. That's very nice of you, Bob. What are you drinking, James? Anything?
Well, earlier I just had a drink of Diet Coke, but nothing else. But I could get another Diet Coke from
There
the
you
fridge,
go.
but I'm trying to reduce the caffeine.
Nice. I heard that there's no sugar, diet, no caffeine, Coke, and it's just water with, and then they don't even have gas, so it's just water, and then they just put it in dirt, so you get none of the taste, just with some of the color and all that. So.
And some artificial sweeteners other than, what's it called? It's not monosodium glutamate.
Oh my.
It's not sugar.
It's something else.
Yeah.
Splenda?
No, it's not Splenda. Hold on a second.
It's something else. What are you drinking, Dad? Oh, what's a cat drinking?
Cat. I got it. It's aspartame.
Yes, aspartame. Love it. Dennis, do you remember when aspartame used to come in a little white bottle that you just squirt into your coffee? Was that the same thing? Maybe I'm older than you and Bob.
No,
'Cause that's what I remember. No?
I'm not sure. If you said Den, I'm not sure. I've never been I always drink my coffee black.
Nice.
No,
That's
no
right.
sweeteners. I learned to drink coffee when I wrestled a lot lighter than I was in high school. I wrestled lightweight, and so I had to lose a lot of weight. So I learned about black coffee, no calories.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Oh yeah, no, that was the reason. It was.
Well, I drink I like my coffee like I like my women, Colombian. So one of the things you can try is Colombian coffee. It's amazing. It's very very light. The right and I usually have if it's from Starbucks I have a ton of sugar and it's really bad for me. This kind of amount of sugar, but with Colombian coffee it's so delicious and so light that I don't need sugar. Yeah, Bob agrees.
All I know is when you talk about coffee and when you say Colombia, I didn't understand. I knew a little Spanish when I flew down to give a talk at Sao Paulo, and this is like years and years ago, and I got there and I didn't realize how strong. I liked black coffee. I didn't realize how strong the coffee was. I was just trying to get the hotel to give me some hot water to kind of cut the coffee.
Yeah.
And it was a miserable failure. So I wound up being up for 3 days after that trip from the coffee, but it was wonderful. It was a wonderful trip.
Well, it's what is it? So Colombian's Arabic, but the other one, what's the other one from Arabic? Anyways, São Paulo is in Brazil. Yeah, they have the thickest, darkest coffee around and all that. So
And actually, you'd appreciate this. Maybe some of the people remember this name, John Koch. He was like one of the compiler wizards. Oh, he's taking a call. He's leaving. I'll just tell you. I went down there and I was this young guy at research, and the marketing team for IBM had committed this famous IBM fellow that was literally almost on his hospital bed. So I went down there to cover for him. So I felt very unnerved going down to cover for a senior guy, but it turned out to be, it was a fun trip, and the conference it was really much more college kids, and it was a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll let someone else talk about what they're drinking.
I missed that story. Sorry, Dennis. Whoa. This is like work. I have to apologize because I was talking for about 2 minutes and my mute was on the whole time.
Anyway.
So Dennis, you have tried all the coffees from all over the world then.
Well, actually, I've tried pretty much every coffee IBM lab. I probably hit about 8 or 9 of the IBM Global Research Labs. So I had my fair share. But I will say Brazil was the most noticeable for coffee. That was probably the highlight on that.
They're very famous and very very good coffee with that.
Yeah.
So everybody else, what's our? We do have several of future presenters here. We have Jonathan, Dwight. Jonathan, what are you drinking?
Colombian coffee, man.
There you go. Right now, I like it. You're staying awake for my presentation. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Costa Rica, yes, that's what Gene's drinking. M&Ms. Oh, that's harsh. Is that M&M coffee or just straight up M&Ms? I like it. No preach and call it fancy. I liked it. Fancy shirts. So for everybody that missed it, this is my architect shirt. I'll make it quick because the joke is over. Everybody looks around, and when they see me on this, they know I'm not a developer. There's no sane developer that will wear this. It's got to be the architect. That's the only one that believes you can get away with it. So for the rest of the people know that. So nice background. I appreciate that. So we are BocaJS. One more time, we're partnering with Palm Beach JS. So every one of so if you've been to palmbeachjs.org or BocaJS.org, you've seen this the event. We are having both events because we're virtual. At the end of the year, starting next year, we'll be merging. We'll give you guys a hint of what the new name is. We're actually waiting for the Twitter handle. We have everything else laid out. We have the website. We have all the other ones. But the Twitter handle is someone that hasn't tweeted since 2012. And between you and me, whenever you've seen this and it's part of your company, and you can go and say, listen, it's a registered corporation, it's a registered nonprofit. If you have proof that it's you, you can actually ask Twitter, Twitch, Microsoft, Facebook for that to be given to you guys, even though they've been around for longer than your corporation is. So you could do that. If we are successful with that, we'll go with that name. So just to let you guys know. We meet once a month. I'll start the conversations. It's 6:46 here. So thank you guys for coming. One more time, we meet once a month. This is BocaJS. My name is Damien Montero. I'll go through the presentations one more time. I want you guys to feel free. I want you, and please excuse me, that's simply my terminologies. By you guys, I mean you, my family, which is the people that come in here. It is meant to be inclusive and include everybody that joins. And I want to thank you guys. Thank you all for joining that. We are BocaJS. We're presenting on Zoom. Thank you guys. Thank you all for joining with Zoom. Remember that you can always mute yourself or not mute yourself. And for this presentation, I'll be talking a lot of things that I would love your feedback on. And let me know if there is something that you think differently, or you want to give your input or your examples. There will be definitely a time that I will bring up some projects. And this is where you can bring up a particular project you're interested in, that you love, that you're incorporated, that you've contributed to, because today's event is all about sort of open source and how to contribute to that. So again, feel free to mute anybody. Should there be someone that you wish to mute, including myself, you can actually click on the button and mute it just for you. That does not mute it for anybody else, so you're not affected by anything else. But if there's a particular noise from a dog and I don't get there on time, I don't mute that person. You can mute it for yourself, and then you can also unmute yourself should you want to speak. Again, we tend to do this in sort of a presentation style. I'll present in just a second, but I want you all to feel free to unmute and give me your opinion. I will be trying to monitor as much as I can the chat, but with the presentation and me looking at the presentation to remind myself what it is that we're speaking about and things like that, I might not handle that. So if you see someone that's chatted something that you feel is contributing to the conversation, feel free to say, Gene just said that. Perfect. Dennis just said that. All right. Nice. But Dennis says something in there. Just go ahead and check it out in the chat. If you guys don't know, just at the very bottom of this conversation that we have here, you'll be able to chat in there. You'll be able to, in the future, should I have a poll? There won't be any polls in this presentation, but there was one in another presentation that was given by Anna. And I put a poll in there because she wanted to know what everybody is doing with that. So today's presentation will be a hackathon. I'll go into the presentation, then I'll stop a little bit, and I'll want you guys want everybody to just go ahead and share whatever you'd like at any moment. Feel free to interrupt me. I have no problems with that, okay? First, let's go ahead and just remind ourselves we're connected with what is sometimes called palmbeachtech.org. Sometimes it's called South Florida Tech. They're kind of working for that name. They were going to move themselves into South Florida Tech. But what I really want to show off is Palm Beach Tech or southfloridatech.com/Slack. The /Slack is the best part of it. You'll see that you can get resources like myself. You can be the one that adds to the conversation. You can be the ones who are asking the questions. The Palm Beach Tech Slack channel is just spectacular. I'm on there all the time because I love it. There's a lot of incredible experts like Dwight and myself and other ones that you can find in there, and will answer any questions you have, including things like job listings or looking for particular help with your project. And this is what we're kind of talking about. So just want you all to remember that. We're talking today about Hacktoberfest. Let me take a quick drink. Talking today about Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest combination, of course, is October. It's done by DigitalOcean. There's connection with Intel and Dev.to that are really caring about it. Just by the way, at the very top of you, some of you eagle-eye viewers will see that you can go to slides.bocajs.org. You can always go the day of the event to that link, slides.bocajs.org, and see the slides of the presenter. If I've gotten the slides from the presenter, you can see what's going on in there. And this is today the same. So if you're welcome to follow it, there'll be some links that I will mention and I will slowly dictate and say out loud. But if you're welcome to go ahead and just go there and follow along with me. My name is Damien Montero. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I used to be the tech lead at JM Family, and I just realized I have not updated my slide in a while. I love seeing some JavaScript, hence why I run this group. I love seeing every one of you come join me, and so I thank you very, very much for that. If you find that you missed part of it, or I went a little bit too fast, you can always find us at youtube.com/BocaJS. So BocaJS is the group, youtube.com/BocaJS, and you can even see ourselves going live right now and see if there's something that you've missed from last year, last month, last week, that you'd be interested. You will see, check it out there. Next month, and my apologies to Dwight, because I think we gave an explanation that was going to be today, but at the end of the month, we're going to have the great Dwight. We're going to have several other people that are going to be experts. Check out the website to find out everybody is going to join us. These are the people that I consider the more successful than me and much, much, much better looking. And also, by the way, very, very interesting. These are people that just really impress me, and I think they really will impress you. There's people that are senior, there's people that are junior, there's people that are middle, but each and every one of these people are experts in their fields and will be able to answer any questions that you have about joining the fields, what it's like to be, what it's like to have different roles in the industry. So definitely join us for October 27th. This same link, this same website, BocaJS.org. Hacktoberfest. So let me just get through the basics. It's a month-long celebration of open source. It was done by DigitalOcean. Really, it's two things. You can think of it as a way to get free t-shirts and swag, but it also is a way for you to be able to A, contribute to open source, and B, learn how to contribute to open source. So we're going to find out different things about it. What is open source? It's a way to give back to the community. It's what you all use right now. Every single thing you use, from the .NET technologies to the JavaScript technologies to Linux to the core of certain system, even something like the core of the Mac operating system. And at this moment, some of the languages from Microsoft and some of the other ones are all open source. And they're sometimes can be viewed as something that we don't really get access to. Yes, it's open source, but there's no way for me as an individual to contribute, no matter what level it is, because I'm not the super experts about it. And we're here to change that, okay? Here's the basics of what this event is. So again, this is a presentation about the event. The particular event we're talking about is Hacktoberfest. You get a free t-shirt, as well as other swag, stickers, other things, and also your ability to show up in different places. All you gotta do is do 4 PRs. If you don't know what a PR, just bear with me, between October 1st and 31st. There'll be 70,000. You will get a t-shirt, the first come, first serve. Don't worry about it. And here's the important thing. I'm going to talk a little bit about it because there was a bit of talk in the in SAG. You'll love this. There will be some contributions that are spammy, and we're going to talk about how they've addressed that, and they will not count for the words the fourth contribution. If you want to know Hacktoberfest, we'll go about it together. You go there and you register, and super, super simple. Now I'll do that with you together. So don't worry if I'm going too fast in these slides. We'll actually physically do it together. anyways, just a reminder, I'll leave this in the slides.bocajs.org. This is the official rules, but don't worry too much about it. How do we figure out what to contribute? There's some websites, again, the links come in here. You can find issuehub.io. Some of the links in the Hacktoberfest website that you will see in just a second, that you've seen already, a link, will have ways for you to contribute. But if you go to slides.bocajs.org, you can find these 5 links here to find out if there isn't one particular one that you can contribute to, how you could contribute. Okay? So, there is a little bit of an issue. This is Hacktoberfest. This is the website you're going to go to. Is again hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. And again, this has been going on for about, I think, 5 years, maybe 8. Correct me, please, if anybody is heard otherwise. And again, feel free to unmute yourself and talk. This is an open discussion. I do not want to be a presenter that's simply a YouTube channel. I'm here to hear from you and see what's going on here. And I know there's some of you that have already gotten t-shirts and are excited perhaps to get a new t-shirt, and more importantly, to show off that you've done something and maybe to contribute about it. But if you can, if you want, go to Hacktoberfest, go to hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com and go in there. And so it's a great idea. So people have been going and saying, perfect, if all I got to do is contribute something, let me go and contribute something really tiny, and then all of a sudden, you get a free t-shirt. What could be better than that? So easy. And there's some information about people that are saying in this year, I don't know why it's come up with, there's a lot of really spammy requests. So this is an example of a very famous repo. This is what you were looking at here. And as you can see, there's been just an awful lot of useless uploads and useless people that are contributing useless things. And useless, and you'll see what I mean by that. And they're there to get a t-shirt. That's all it is. This is one example. This is from an example of a particular friend of mine that I know. He has a particular, he has a Ansible, whatever it is. It's a file that you can help for doing things what I do at my work with the DevOps. In other words, he is a contribution from a file, and you're like, well, this is not a spammy. This is not someone saying, hey, I'm going to log in to your GitHub, put in a period into your documentation, step away and say, woohoo, free t-shirt. This is truly looks like a real file. And so I'm going to show you the basics of that. There's a conversation of what's going on in here. This looks like a traditional chat. You're like, okay, this is was submitted by something. We're going to look at the file, and it looks like a legitimate file. It looks like some files, and this is what a legitimate YAML file looks like. And it says users, and there's an example of how to add a user to things like Azure and things like that. And this looks like a valid response, and you're like, how can this be spammy? And he looked at it and says that looks unusual. So he went and he right-clicked and he looked at the user. You can do this for any reasons. There's some of the requests. This is some of the repositories that he's contributed to. And if you look at some of the contributions, you're like, wow, what did he contribute? And, I didn't get this ready. What essentially he did, and I have to do a way to figure out what it is that the other contributions are. And my apologies. Okay. Here they are. What are the different contributions he's done? Well, let's see one of the contributions here. And if you notice carefully in this particular contribution, we can't see it, but he simply added, this is a bad example, but in most of the contributions, he simply added a single file, the exact same file. So he's found a particular good-looking file that looks like it belongs part of the package and hoped to sort of inject it into several different contributions. Again, if this doesn't make sense, you can see the basics of, for example, going here and adding a period at the very end, or adding a documentation that says wonderful work and just saving it and saying, hey, I want my t-shirt. And so they truly at Hacktoberfest have decided that enough is enough. And so people were saying, hey, I have a particular one. We'll see some great contributions out there, some great GitHub repos we can contribute to. And we're going to see that they have to now mark themselves as available. So it's opt-in. So a contribution, and what we'll talk a little bit about, and you've heard it before, the sample APIs has to opt in. So if Jeremy was here and he could not make it today, he would tell you, please submit something, and we'll do it together to submit, and we'll see what it's like to submit something on an open source contribution, so that you can submit something that changes the world, that adds a little bit of something to the world. And so what they've done now is they have all these steps in here, and I can let you read the article. It's in the slides.bocajs.org if you're interested in. But it now gives, it helps a little bit. So there is one pull request here, and it's easy now to look and say, did we have a valid offer? Is there a valid something? And as a request, if you are like the individual that we saw a little bit earlier here, and see a lot of things, instead of having to mark them spam, you can sort of lay back as an organizer of a particular library that's very famous, and just say, you know what, in October, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to wait so that I don't have to spend 2 hours a day getting rid of spam, right? And we can look in here and see, there is a contribution. Before we look into it, because we don't want to do this live, we can go ahead and say, is this a valid contribution? And instead of having to mark all the crazy number of spamming, if you get this, we can go and say the opposite. We'll look at one particular one and sort of approve it, improve it, or accept it. So any comments on that? Anything you would like to be explained more about it?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm doing some work with the Tux Math project.
Yes.
And I have real simple sound file. Their audio file is bad, so I'm trying to upload a fixed audio file.
Wonderful.
And I downloaded the stuff from GitHub, but I'm not sure how to get it back into the repo. Am I supposed to be doing it can I not do it from my local machine? Do I have to do it from another GitHub repository? Do I have to do a push request?
Let's do that together. It's excellent segue. I think I have to go ahead and pay you whatever Bitcoins I offered to pay you, because it's a perfect segue of what to do. So let's do that together. Here's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be getting a GitHub account. You do need a GitHub account to do that. So hopefully that. By the way, who was asking that? What was your name? I didn't get
Laura.
a chance. Laura. So Laura, what I would love to do is work with you on this. We can either do it your contribution, because here's what I was going to do. I was simply going to choose the one that we were doing here, and we could do that. And I was going to contribute to it, and show you all the steps to do that. But we can instead do it by yours. Would you like to do it by adding to this together?
Not sure, because I'm not
good.
sure if I can do it right now, but
Tell you what, no
yeah.
problem at all. I'll show you the steps by doing it to another repo.
That'd
But
be
here's
great.
the basics. The basics. Thank you, Laura. That was an excellent talk, and it's wonderful. And Laura was going to contribute something that is really, really, really needed. If I was the one who wants that, I can see that there's a missing file. I may have not had enough time. I can see that contribution. I love Chromebooks. Believe it or not, they can run Visual Studio, and certain Chromebooks run what is now going to be famous at the end of the year, which is Mac, which is ARM. So certain Chromebooks already run ARM, and you can install Visual Studio on Chromebooks. But there was a limitation in one particular Chromebook that was running ARM, and I saw the limitation. I realized what the contribution was, and I contributed something. It was a single file, a small change to a file, and that means that instantly I've given all 300,000 people that have this particular Chromebook, that want Visual Studio, that want to be able to code on it, that contribution about it. So a single file is a wonderful added contribution, and I hope you can do it. So here's the steps you're going to be doing, Laura, and everybody else as well. We do need a GitHub account, but the basics is we're going to just sign up. It's super easy, github.com, just sign up, go to the top right corner, just log in, fill in the information. They don't ask for much. A picture is what you should definitely contribute with. My goodness, I keep on touching the screen. After you have a GitHub account, and most of you guys probably already do, all of you people already do, we're going to clone the project, and this Laura will probably explain what you're looking for. We're going to fix the issue. Laura, you've already done this part. We're going to create a PR, figure out what it is, and just for the discussion of do we need to have it merged? What if they don't accept it by October? Do I still get my T-shirt? Yes, you do. If they mark it as approved, yes, please.
What does PR mean?
Great question. So the act of contributing back is called a PR. Now, what it stands for is pull request, but let's not get bogged down on the words because maybe it's because English is not my first language. Pull request never helped me figure out what it is. But essentially what you're saying is, hey, per project X, I, person Y, want to contribute and give you something. And why don't you go ahead and accept it? And instead of saying, well, it should be an open source, everybody should be able to forward something, there should be barriers. The person that's going to be accepting it should go and say, you know what, hold on a second. That is a wonderful file that Laura is about to give us, but it doesn't meet X or Y, or we don't understand the problem. And Laura can then have a conversation with that, and it's back and forth. So we'll look at that together.
Can I accept it myself if they've made me a member of the team?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can, but that not necessarily needed. And I can definitely we'll do an example here, and then we'll see what that means in there. So let's do that with an example. And you wait a day or two. Actually, this has changed a lot. So let's do it. I feel that an example will really help. And we'll go through this a couple of different, I was just going through to see what else we have left here. This is the fancy basics. Again, feel free to come in here. I'm going to use this example here. So I'm going to go through it step by step. And please stop me if there's anything that you don't understand. It's going to be the same, Laura, for you that it is here for this particular example. I'm going to use one that I know well. I'm going to find myself in this particular project file. This is GitHub, the name of the organization, in this case, the user that is keeping track of this project. This is the project I'm interested in. It will be different for the Gitmux or the other group that Laura that you said. And then what I'm going to do is do the following, and you're going to do the same. You're going to clone it by clicking here on this code and then either copying everything that's in here or clicking, if you have Visual Studio, on here. And we're not going to do that. I do have Visual Studio installed, but I'm not going to use it here. If you have the GitHub desktop, which is an application, you can do it here. But here's what we're going to normally do. We're going to open this here, and if we have Git installed, on the Mac you already have it installed. On Windows you do have it installed if you use PowerShell, but normally you have to install it. I'm now going to open up I can use it on my computer, but I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to go to my terminal window here. And in my terminal window, I have a bunch of different programs. I'm not interested about that. We're going to clone it. So you do need to do this. And you probably already did this, Laura, because you can download the files. And let me just go back here. You can click here and download. Now you get a copy of the project, but it's not really connected. If you do this Git repository, it is now connected. Okay?
Yeah, I put Git portable on my Windows machine, and I did a clone.
Perfect.
So I got that far, but I couldn't get it back uploaded.
Excellent. So let's do that together, okay? So I'm going to just bear with me here. Of course, this project is something I already have on my computer. I'm going to get rid of it on my computer, and I'm going to clone it again. So I'm going to start again. Git clone, just like Laura told us to do. I'm going to paste the URL I found. It's different. It looks the same, but it's different than the GitHub website. So this is the beginning of the website, but it has .git in this example. Sometimes there is a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and clone it. Now I'm going to go into it. Sample APIs is my example of the project I just downloaded, right? It's called usually the same as the project name. Here I am. And I'm going to ls here. Okay? And can I do this? Let me see this. I can't do this. Open here. Then it can. There we go. So I'm on the Mac, but who cares? Here's the files of this particular project. And I happen to know that there is a particular file that I can add. And I happen to know exactly what it is. But the point I'm trying to make here is, I'm going to go code here. And what code is Visual Studio Code will open up. and I'll open it in this project location. So, and you've seen Visual Studio Code. If not, it looks like exactly like whatever editor you're using. On the left-hand side is all the files that belong to this particular file. Just because I want to just add something, I'm going to go ahead and copy. Give me 1 second. Copy Simpsons to source APIs. So just ignore what I'm doing. I'm going to show you what I've done here is I've added one more file. So in this directory, it's not really important what I've done. Laura, you're going to do a change to a soundbite. James is going to do a new file. Sagiv will make a new change to an existing project file. I've added a new file, and I'm happy with that file. And there's other requirements that are part of this file, and just because of the fact that to keep the conversation going, I'm going to just add the one file. So I can do this two different ways. I can use this plugin in Visual Studio Code, and feel free to use it, that help me by letting me add it and comment and all that, or I can do it the old-fashioned way in the command line. And I'm just going to do it right now in the command line, just so you guys can see. I'm going to go git status, and I'm going to see what's going on. What do I have ready? And as you can see, it's the new file that I just added. And I'm happy with that addition. And I'm going to go git add. You can add everything. And that means, of course, anything that's new. And that's dangerous, because if I added something because of my Mac, that's a particular directory that only the Mac has, or my Windows where there is, sort of the .desktop file that sometimes gets added. So, but I can do that, or I can go the specific file. Okay? So just so that you guys can see episode. Okay, perfect. So I've added the file. If I do status one more time, it says you have the file, it's almost ready, you need a comment, essentially what it's telling me. So I can go git comment, make it permanent, that's what the M does, and say adding Simpsons episodes. Okay, this is a list of APIs. This is what the project is. This is a sample APIs. You can hit it and get a list of the episodes that are part of The Simpsons. So that's something very interesting. I think I'm contributing something, and so I've commented it. And then I'm going to go. This is the part, Laura, the part of that you can do, and you can go git push, and it will try to submit it, and it would fail. Now, I just realized I made a bit of a mistake here. But what you've done here is, what you should have done is done it. I have access, but which is what you were talking about earlier, Laura. If I'm part of this group, then I'm allowed to do what I'm about to do, which is go straight in. But the problem with that is we're not letting them see my change. It's going straight in, and maybe even being pulled by a software that makes it into the software. That's a problem. What I should have done is a little bit different. Please, my apologies, I should have started with this. This is the original one. But what you should do is something a little bit different. So if you just bear with me here, similar steps, we'll do it one more time, just for repeating sakes. And what you should do at the beginning is fork. Laura, did you fork over here the existing package?
I think I cloned it instead of forked it.
And that's the exact error I made. And that's perfectly fine if it's one package. And you've named it well. And thank you, Laura. This is a wonderful conversation. It's perfectly if I'm part of the contribution. And in this case, I happen to be one of the organizers. And so therefore, I am allowed to do what I was about to do, which is push right into this sacred, special group without being able to sort of hand them over my changes and have them truly accept them and create this pull request, or PR, as you can see here, that we're going to talk about here. So the first step is to do the following. And I'll show you how to correct Laura, what you did, because I've made that mistake. So if you clone it, that's fine. And cloning really is for you to utilize a project. If all I wanted to do was run it, then I've done okay. I don't have to do the next step. But if I want to contribute, there is something I have to do, which is fork it. When you click on fork, you might skip this step. I happen to be part of a lot of different groups, a lot of different organizations, some of which are my work, some of the other ones are different organizations I run with different people. So I'm going to choose me, but normally you would not get to choose this one step. A wonderful animation of it actually forking, which should be more like copy. And now it is my version of the project. Now I will go back and show you how to take it from where you are, Laura. But just because of the fact that this is not in that step really, and we should have done this, I'm going to sort of start again from scratch. So please excuse me. Just bear with me, Laura, because at the very end I'll show you how to get to some point. Yes.
Damien, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Now, would I, if there were 5 people working on this project, would I expect 5 fork branches?
Yes, absolutely. Now, you can have a single one and do it in a different kind of a way. But just for simplicity's sake, yes. By the way, Scott, it was Scott, right? Was that Scott?
Yes, sorry, I had to unmute.
No, that's okay. It's okay. I know your voice, so I know it's you. If you and you and I work together, so if we used to, if you and I were working on something for work, we wouldn't have to fork them, although we could. When I worked with Jay and Family, with Dwight, we did, but we would not have to, and we could all contribute. As I talked about before, where I happen to be one of the people that contribute, and we're all developers and all this, we can contribute and do it in a different way. But when it comes to open source, usually you don't have access to that. If I go to the React JS, I'm not going to get access to their repository. So I can go ahead and fork this and say, perfect, ES Spanish. I know Spanish, right? I can contribute some changes in here, get some good contributions to, wow, React. That's a big thing. But I would not be part of these people, would not be part of people that have access to I would not be part of the group that has direct access, so I would have to fork. So in this example, to answer your question, we could do what you were saying, Scott, but in this example, and most of the times, you would do the fork. And now I'm in my repo, as with my picture on it, and it has the same project name, and it says it's forked from Jeremy's sample API, and there's no question about it. Okay? Just for those of you who wanted to know what this project is, it's very wonderful. It has a list of different APIs, and it was solving the problem that there is no need for authentication or there's no barrier. And you can even, through API, through CRUD calls, you can actually go ahead or GraphQA calls, you can change the data. So you're full welcome to have a list of all the Futurama characters and all the different inventories and episodes, for example, and we can do those type of things. So that's the project we're contributing to. Getting back to what we're doing here, we're trying to contribute to the original Germbo samples. So to React, I clicked on fork. I have my own version. Now I'm in Damien/sample APIs, my own repo. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL and do the same thing we did a second ago, okay? So for that purpose, I'm going to go ahead and close this. And I'm going to, one more time, come in here and remove it. So again, you would normally not do this. Everybody would not normally, and let's start again from scratch. So now if you look at it, git clone, very similar to what we did before, but now it doesn't say Germo, it says the Damien. Now it's my fork on it, and that's git, as in not GitHub, but Git's version of a copy. My copy of their code. Now, when I cloned it, I got an exact copy, an exact clone of it. This is my version of it. So for example, I could fork and do a completely different version of this that requires you to pay and requires authentication, because I think sample API should go in that direction. So I can fork that direction. But I can also make a contribution and bring it back to the original one. So let's do that. I'm going to one more time clone the repo and one more time go in there. And there is the repo, and I'm going to look at it, and there's all the list of files, including this directory. I'm going to contribute doing what I have already prepared. with this particular file. Of course, you wouldn't normally do this, and all of a sudden I have the file that I want to contribute. Again, we would sit down, but there's no need for you guys to figure out what it is I'm doing. You just understand that I'm contributing, changing, adding as Laura did, modifying as James will do, correcting different things. And in my version of it, and we'll talk more about your version, Scott, but I have, again, git status. This figure out what's going on. It says I do have one file. It's nowhere in the Git repo. Nobody knows about it. Let's go ahead and add it. Git add period. Before, if you notice, I specifically set the file. This one I said, whatever. Git status. I can look at it one more time. And it says green. So in other words, it's ready to be packaged and sent. It's not sent yet, but it's ready to be packaged and sent. I'm going to commit and say adding the Simpsons. I can never spell this right. Episodes. And then I'm going to git push. And git push in this situation, because I'm in my own repo, the one that's for Damien, will allow me to do this. And I'm getting something like this instead of something red, and it's successful. And if I go back to the web page, again, one more time, I'm in the Damien. And if I go to this directory in the APIs, I will find the Simpsons is right there. Simpsons episode. And on purpose, I've made a mistake. But what you have to know right now is there's a file and it's been added. Here's the magic. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Again, this is still mine. I'm going to see a brand new button here called pull request. So again, Laura, you did every single right, and we'll show you how to not have to do what I just did, which is, oh my goodness, delete everything, start again from scratch. But it's there, Damien, you had the file prepared. This is kind of preparation. I'll show you what you can do at a point at which you're like, oh my goodness, I cloned it. Now do I have to really start from scratch? You don't. But in this case, remember, we forked the original one. We pulled our own version. I made the changes. I added the file, .add. I committed a comment, essentially. I said, hey, go for it. I want to send it up there. So here's a comment. This is what's going to be there. And the comment said adding to the all Simpsons episodes. The all. Wow, that's horrible. And then I did git push. And my version already has it, but that's not the official version. That's simply my copy of it, my fork of it. So when I click on pull request, you'll notice that the GitHub will look at certain things, and it's asking me certain things about repos, and not really important. Just click on this button one more time and look at it. The description that I put in the comment on the comment commit, again, it wasn't a comment, it was commit -m. We'll do it like that. And I can correct my grammar, adding all episodes. Here you go, Jumbo. You owe me a coffee. I think those icons, I don't know if you guys saw it, I put a colon, and you can do anything that you want. And there's certain icons in there. And that's very, very important. That's hugely important in open source, right? So please, I think at this moment I'm reading the script, hold for applause, because you guys are on mute. I'm not hearing your laughter and applause, so that's okay.
It should be Colombian coffee.
Colombian coffee, yes, thank you. I appreciate that. That's hilarious. Colombian, not
or a flag.
Colombian. Yes. I don't think there's a Colombian. I wonder if there's a Colombian flag. There we go. Colon. Yes, there is. Wonderful. So I've now created a pull request. Now, you haven't realized it, but I was sitting on the Damien, and now that I'm looking up the directory, I'm in Jeremy's. So I've gone from mine, and I'll press back so you guys can all see this. I'm in mine, I press pull request, and it knows, and now I'm in Jeremy's. And this is the process. If you go now remember, it's his project at this moment that we're in. If I click on pull request, you can see mine. And when I click on it, he's going to be able to do it and decide what to do with it. And what he's going to do in this situation, and it's Jeremy's here, he's going to make a comment. And I'll pretend to be him and say, Damien, you have to add the episodes into the existing Simpson.json file, not its own file. He will add that comment. Yes.
Damien.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is that on the main branch? That's the branch. I didn't see you branched out or anything.
Great question. So great moment. It is the main branch. There is something else that we can talk about this. I think you're getting a little bit advanced, and I like that. Thank you very much. I happen to stay in the same branch, and you're right. The correct thing to do would create a new branch. And that would be the correct thing. That would be absolutely the correct thing, because there's a couple of things in there that allows them to merge it, but not to put it into the project. So a different branch is like a different copy within the same repo, and we could have different versions, and then he could see what's going on there and then merge both of them together. And he would be able to do something like from Damien : new episodes of Simpsons to the main, and you're absolutely right. And I want to have this discussion, but just bear with me as we sort of get to the basics of here. Once I do that, I'll be sitting here, and there was one request. And I'm going to go to Hacktoberfest, and I'm going to log in by clicking on Start Hacking, sign in with GitHub. Unfortunately, they don't have any other way because they need to have sort of access to your GitHub account to look into it. And it still says only one. And I've already done one for a different project. So what happened to my one? Well, this is because this has to be labeled. Now, again, I'm going to label it, but please don't get confused. I'm pretending to be Jeremy in this moment. I've commented a comment, and I'm telling Jeremy, let's pretend this is Jeremy, is telling Damien, hey, I cannot accept your contribution because you've done it in the wrong place. And that's perfectly fine. But they may say, and they're going to do this again, I, as the contributor, not the one receiving the contribution, but the one giving the contribution, as Damien cannot do this, but I had to have access. He's going to come in here and go and say accepted. Oh, he needs to create a new one. Okay. Well, he'll make it accepted. I'll show you another example that it is accepted. So let's do that. So please don't look behind the curtain at this man, Wow, and we'll see the contributions. And he will add a tag called Hacktoberfest-accepted. And this one is the one that we're talking about here. And again, this isn't something you do as the person giving, but only as the person receiving, the person that contains and qualifies the submission. So Jeremy can decide, no, Damien's contribution, I'm Damien here. So this particular main branch can decide that's not a contribution, I like it. Because for the same example that we just heard a second ago, it's you did it in the main branch. That's not how I like it. You didn't do it in the right file. That's not what I like it. But they may still accept it, and you may still get credit. So I've decided not to accept this particular contribution to one of my projects from the amazing Enrique. But it's still been accepted as far as I want to still give him credit. Because I want him to fix it, but I still want to give him credit because this is a wonderful contribution. The contribution is tremendous. It's amazing what he's done in here. It's amazing what he's done in a lot of things to a project I've made for my mom. And it's an amazing contribution, but it's not up to the standards I want. So that doesn't mean I don't want to give him credit, and it doesn't mean that I won't accept it. If you look at it carefully, what I've done is I've started a conversation. He's saying, this is what we're going to do. I'm saying, I love it, but I need this to be done, and we talk about it. Not very interesting why we're doing about it, but I've already marked it as accepted. And he did it. Thank you for whoever's talking about who just let me know that the right thing to do was to make a new branch.
Jonathan.
Say it again.
Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. As you can see, Jonathan, I am not as good as a developer as Enrique, which did do, as you can see, his own feature slash very sophisticated, his own branch that essentially says, I can merge it and I can choose to merge it into the same kind of branch so that it's separate, so I can do some kind of tests and all that. If you're interested, there is a way for me to go. You might say, well, Damien, but there's no way for you to really test. You can look at the code, but nobody's that good of a developer. Well, I can actually make a request where even though, even on my example, even though it's the main branch that I'm doing it, there's a way that I can go and grab his version of it, Enrique's version of it, test it out myself, and prove that what I'm saying is wrong, that it doesn't meet my standards, or that it would break with this certain situation, all that. So they don't have to accept it to do that. So that's about it. Laura, please, is there anybody else, even Einstein? We have some Einsteins in here, I'm sure. Is there anybody else who has questions or anything?
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
I just made my own project and published it onto GitHub. It's an Angular project that's supposed to showcase the designs that I made.
Perfect.
Trying to reflect what I made in Photoshop.
Yes, James.
And I did hear about publishing them onto Azure Static as a static website.
I will work with you on that. This is a topic for another conversation, but we want to keep it right now with GitHub and contributing to open source. But yes, there is a way, and James, you have the right idea. What you do if you really look into it, Azure allows you to, because they own GitHub, you can instantly connect that, and instantly it goes up to a website up in Azure with your own domain name and all that. So, but that's for another conversation, right? Let's keep it with, if you don't mind, James, let's keep it with the GitHub and the contributing and things like that.
You got it.
Sure. Do you have any? Yes.
What's a good project? I guess you're working with Jumbo and sample APIs. What's another public one? Good one, maybe.
This is sample APIs. It's easy, and by the way, it's easy because you can find a million different things. This is if you were on the Slack channel, you'll notice that someone posted. By the way, that someone was me. This amazing resource by womenwhocode.com. This resource, go to it. Don't go to our API endpoints. But I contacted them and they said, yeah, no problem. Go ahead and added something. So this is an easy to do project. If you wish to get the 4 PRs, it's easy to submit a request here to go and sit and just find something out there. I love the countries, so I contribute a lot to different things in here. So you'll see endpoints that have different currencies, the population. This is what I contributed to, the flags, the phone numbers for each one of the countries. It's nothing that anybody needs, but that means it's an easy contribution to go to. Here's another one I did. The amazing people, everybody heard of Grammar Hub? Is there any fans out there of Grammar Hub or know what it is? If you don't, this Grammar Hub, okay. Okay. It's an amazing group. You go to grammarhub, I think .com or .org, and they meet once a week, and they all work together to contribute to a particular project. I love that. You can see different people of different ranges and different levels. You don't have to be an expert to join them. In fact, there's usually not a lot of experts on there. One particular thing they're working on, this thing called SoundGoat. And what I found in this situation, to answer your question, Jonathan, which is some contributions, what you can do is, I found one, and this one was a great product. It was a wonderful little project that they were doing, but I realized they didn't have the steps to do it. So when I joined the group, they had to literally tell me verbally what to do it. So I went in here and created a readme.md. You can look up what the different versions of MDs are, and simply added myself a little Google search for something. The sound was going to come out of a different end of the goat. You like this? And then just added how to run it locally. In other words, for the next developer to follow, to not have to think about it. Maybe it's easy for them, maybe it's not. What to do, how to run it, how to different things. This was my contribution. And so this is another one that's great. And Grammar Hub has a lot of different projects. A lot of them don't have. If there's something that you're particularly interested in, and you're like, I know what they're trying to do there. You can go ahead and contribute, for example, to the README MD. And a lot of times there's some great appreciation for that, because you want, you have a great project, but you haven't spent the time to document it, right? Let's look at one example. Here's Jeremy. Here's his talks. Wonderful resource of amazing talks. Wonderful. But it's like talks. And then you look in the talks and you're like, okay, how are you doing it? It's just an MD file. But if you notice, he presents full, beautiful presentations. This is what I had. So what does he do? So I asked him what he did. And so, for example, what you can do is you can come in here and contribute to the README. And not only just don't put an extra dot, which is very spammy, but really contribute. Say, he told me that you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to have this installed. Okay, pull these type of things. And again, you fork this repo, you make the change, and then you click on PR. And now Jeremy has the documentation of how you can see his talks on your computer, right? So there is my suggestion for a couple of different great projects that he has out there. Another one that he's very famous for, again, I'm just concentrating on this, is the Cosmic Typer. And this is a solution to an existing problem that there is out there. Okay, here you go. You can help him with the fact that his links don't work. If you can figure out what exactly is the issue with those links, you can help contribute to fix that, right? So this is a particular project that's, I think it's Typer. There it is. CodePalmBeach.org. And CodePalmBeach.org is where you can help kids of any different age how to learn how to program. So this is one of the different solutions. And what the amazing Enrique that has helped me with my project has done is he's translated this. This is on the beta version. It's not in this version group, but he has this in Spanish and in Portuguese. So you might find another project out there that would love for you. They have a Chinese version and a French version, but you speak Spanish, and you could easily translate from English to Spanish. I mean, easily, within a couple of weekends, working a little bit. Now you have a contribution that really helps. And my goodness, anybody that can translate my website of anything to another language, I will kiss their feet, right? Because it is a huge improvement on that. So this one, this is an older version, so it's not available. But you'll notice that his version on here will have different languages, and should, if I got the right website,
yeah, I think if you look into the source folder, you'll see the folders for the Lang.
There you
Lang
go.
Folder.
Thank you, my friend.
It should be. We might have now merged. So check the branches.
Or is this some kind of a different version?
No. Check the different branches. It might be on a different branch. There you go.
Perfect.
So inside that Lang folder.
Yes. This is the gentleman that's talking right now. If you need to know who it is, right there, that person.
Oh boy.
There we go. And so this will be a great addition to this, right? So this is the different languages. So we're in Lang. So if you speak French, right? This is PT Portuguese? Portuguese,
yes.
Pardon me.
Portuguese, yeah.
Portuguese. Okay, so you speak French, you can add it in here. As you can see with these ones, they're fairly simple. It's just a matter of finding the particular thing and then below it, translate exactly what you're seeing. So you translate not what's on the left, but what's on the right. So you translate each one of these things into French. I'm not going to tell you to go to Google Translate for that. That would be a bad idea. But if you're pretty good with French, you can get that as a cheap trick. But look at this. All you do is do this, and now you have a tremendous contribution. Now, instantly, this amazing website is both in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, and Francais, right? So instantly, you have something there. So that's some of the ideas I would do. Enrique, what do you have as ideas? Anybody else have any website you want to submit or suggest?
Damien, I don't know if you want to touch on the issues, maybe because maybe you go into one of those repos and you're like, I don't know what to do. Maybe they have a couple of issues there that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Absolutely wonderful. So thank you. I totally forgot about that. Let's look at this particular project. This is a good one. So this is one of the things, and you're like, I don't know what to help with, and thank you. I'm just simply repeating what you said, so it sounds good in a soundbite. Click on the issues here. Absolutely. Go back down. These are, depending on who opened it. Now, if it's one of the original contributors or the one who has contributed most of the things in here, you can go in there and see what they're asking for, right? What is the image Enrique asking for that you're looking for to contribute? Oh, there's already merged. This should be closed. What's going on here? So look at the different things that people are asking for. Hey, go ahead and help me with the documentation. That's an easy one. That's a simple one. Anybody can do that. Adding TypeScript. Okay, a little bit more sophisticated, but maybe you can do that. Look at the different ones and what they're looking for. Here's the other thing. That's what they tell you to do. Look for something called code of conduct, but more importantly, look for the contributing. In the contributing, they'll tell you what it is that they're looking for and how they want to see the contributions. So, for example, I don't know if I'm going to go back for 1 second, if you don't mind, and look at the one that we took that before. So, Journal samples API. How do you contribute? We do have a contribution. So in here might be how to contribute something on a particular APIs, and I will write one for you, which is what it is that you have to do when you contribute. It isn't just adding that one file that I showed you all just a little while ago. There is adding some things to one particular JS file, some JavaScript file. So you should look into here is what are they looking for as far as how to contribute, how to add it. Don't just submit it and complain about it and see what's going on in there. You do want to keep track of what things, GitHub, if you let it, if you have it as watch up here. Right now I do have it as watch because it's unwatched. In other words, I am watching it. You can actually see what's going on. You will have an email that comes back and says, this is what I see that you've done, and maybe there's a comment from different people. And don't be offended. Try to be we're trying to be as calm and as nice as possible on this because we are contributing. But sometimes people don't need that contribution or don't want the contribution. And you can have a discussion. It's perfectly fine saying, I don't understand what you're adding here. And you know that's an invitation. Answer that question, what it is that you're adding. Tell them what it is that would be better. Tell them, why you're adding this and why you should be contributing. Or definitely.
I want to add something to that. Daniel.
Please.
What you can also do is something like what I did with Manuel when I submitted my contributions. What I did first was create an issue in the repo. So I created an issue that can be tracked by in this case, you, who's the owner of that repo. And that would then allow me to create a pull request against that issue.
Perfect. And then that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So you
and that can help you save the time, from coding before the discussion is finished. So sorry to cut you off, but that was what I wanted to add.
Great contribution. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Enrique. That is a perfect thing to look into. Definitely, you all have the ability to add new issues and say what it is. Try to make the issues legitimate, right? So it's something that makes sense that you should add. Don't just say needs more documentation and then bother to add a period like they always say. So, but it's definitely something to look into. Okay, so how do we feel with that? Is there any other questions? Someone rang the door, so bear with me here. You guys can continue the documentation, but let's see what's going on. So give me just 2 seconds. Please continue the conversation. You guys will have to excuse me. Keep going in the conversation. I'll be right back in 2 seconds.
If anybody's interested in a project that needs help, FreePats, they have a site at GitHub and they also have a website. They're a site trying to get instrument sounds. So if you play any instruments, they want sounds to be able to use for programs like Timidity and some of the other programs that generate instruments electronically.
That's great. If you could share it on the chat. I'm a drummer, so I got a couple of drums laying around.
Yes, please. You guys all know how to see the chat or share with the chat. Just remember, there's a way to send to everybody, and then there's a way to send in the chat to just one individual. But please, that link shared with everybody. Is there any particular projects? Did I answer some of the questions that we had? I think from Jonathan, that was how to find projects.
Yeah, I think Laura has she has a project there that she just shared on the chat of basically they're collecting sounds.
Perfect.
That we could contribute to that repo. So I was telling her that I have a lot of drums here that I could record and add to there. It'd be cool.
I think they can definitely use drums, and there's a mailing list. If you want to get on, you can talk to the people running the repo and tell them what you've got, and they'll help you with this, how to record it and all that.
Excellent.
Cool.
One thing that they don't have is sort of sometimes there's a link down here to how to go straight to the GitHub or in the website. Do you see if they have
They do have a GitHub link.
Instantly within documentation. That's awesome. In sample APIs, I'm not trying to toot this on. It just happened to be something I want to point out. They do have a link right there, and I've seen sometimes there's always a banner, that line that goes right here. Chrome Brew. This is an example. This is something I submitted a long time ago. This is sometimes what you'll see out there is common. Some project, when you go to the landing page, you can follow along with whatever the project is, but you can always click on that over there. So with this one, that sounds wonderful. That sounds like a great way to add to it. So you definitely would find the particular. Oh, that's funny. It's only, I guess it's not here. Where would the
yeah, it looks like this repo is just the documentation.
Yes.
So you probably
they do have some. Yeah. They do have some instruments up there somewhere, and they also have an old FreePats GitHub and a new one. So I don't know if you clicked on the old one or the new one.
Perhaps I clicked on the old one. It looks like it. Old tools, free tools. So. Maybe it's the different one, but definitely that sounds like something to contribute. Can you see the one that you found? Is this it? This doesn't look like it because it doesn't have all the different files in here.
Usually when they contribute, I go on the mailing list and people say on the mailing list, hey, we want to send this, and they'll send it over the mailing list. So they may prefer it that way. That's perfect. That's absolutely. Everybody's different, and that sounds like a great way to contribute to that. That's perfect. So that's definitely valid, right? If they want to do it a different way, that's perfectly fine. Damien, I'm still banging my head against the wall on how to do the getting that file. I got to the point where I'm trying to do. I think I went through everything up to the git push origin master, and then it starts asking me for credential helper. Perfect. So what you need, here's what's going on. If I choose, I'm sorry, I do apologize. Let me reopen it. Let's just say, let me add to this. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to clone it. Now I've copied that link, and I'm going to go on new directory here. I don't normally have, by the way, just to clear, the font's this size for you guys, okay? I usually have it much smaller. So I'm going to git clone and this one. And for example, I'll look at the files. Wow. Oh, right. So let's go cd free parts. Okay, so this is the files that are part of that project. Very similar. You can kind of see in the backgrounds to the ones that we have back there. So let's see I do a contribute on it, right? So I make a quick file, damien.py. Nope. And I want to contribute it. I go git add period, git commit. You shouldn't approve. Whoa. Shouldn't approve it. And I git push. And if I have never logged in to GitHub, I will get an error that says I need my login and password. And that's not that you're not allowed to use it. It's that you haven't ever submitted to, you've never logged in with this computer, with this terminal on currently, right? Or you have it set up so that it asks you each time. So
Laura, is this which one was this the one that did it give you an error similar to this, which is denied, or did it say
It
something
brought
like,
up select a credential helper. So it wants me to choose no helper, manager core, manager store, or WinCred.
perfect? So that is related. That is the same. So that is related to the fact that you've never logged in to Git on the console of this computer that you're in. What it's asking you is where it's going to save it. And the Windows one is the best one because it sounds like you're on Windows, and that means that it saves it into the Windows repository and in software inside the Windows. And that just keeps it. In other words, if you notice carefully, when I did clone, commit, push, it never said who are you, but it knows I'm my user's the Damien. And the reason why is I've saved those credentials. So essentially it's asking you not your credentials, but where do you want to save. But it's asking you related to GitHub. Okay? So it's asking you when you log in, what do you use? So Lord, do you have a GitHub account?
Yes.
So it's asking you first where to save it. You can choose the last option, the Windows one. It's perfectly fine.
It says WinCred. Is that
That's fine.
right?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So select WinCred.
Yeah.
Okay. And now it's not doing anything.
Okay. So
Oh,
do
wait,
it again.
it's asking for the password.
Right. So it'll first ask for the username. Is it asking for username or just
Well,
the
I
password?
put the username into the .git file, so it should have that. So it's asking for lm8@github.com, and it's
Okay.
asking for the password.
Okay.
Okay, so let's try that. And it goes back to credential helper selector and just sits there.
Perfect. And that's perfectly fine. You can look into it. This is simply an issue with your Git repo, so we can look into that a little bit later. You can try Visual Studio Code and submit it through that to see if it helps.
Can I say something, Damien?
Yes, please.
Also recently changed it to main, git push origin main instead of master. So that's what doing problems sometimes. So if it's a newer repo, it's going to be asking you to push it into origin main instead of master.
Makes sense. That's a very valid point, but it's easy to switch. But more importantly, usually when you download the repo, you will already be there. So for example, if I go to samples, although my default is master, if I do a clean git init and I start from scratch as master, when I go would tell me which one, I'm already in main. So even though the default on my Git again is master, which is the wrong word, it is already utilizing the one that they've already chosen in GitHub that Jeremy has already changed to. So you can change at any moment Git checkout main, and now you're working on the main repo. So if that's the issue, if it's a fork issue, that can be solved that way. But just to share with you, if they are using main and you are using master and you upload master, they will now have both.
I also got an error message. Your push would publish a private email address.
Okay, so that sounds like there is a file in there that has your email address. Does that sound right? Is one of the files that you have in there your email file?
No, Damien, I've seen that when it's your profile, you have your profile set up to not display your email address in GitHub, and then when you try to actually publish a change, because that email address is tied to that change for the Git blame, it then wants to tell you that's going to expose your email address.
So this is a perfect segue to the following. Let's move this conversation to Slack. I don't want this conversation to stop, but I think it's not valid. It's not fair for everybody to have this conversation all at the same time. So one of the things I would love to have with you all is a continuing of this conversation here in Slack. Here you'll find a very inclusive group that is ready to answer all your questions and where you can answer all different questions. Hopefully not too political. I'll try to keep that unpolitical. But if you go to the South Florida Tech or the palmbeachtech.org/slack, SLAK, you can have this application and you can go to the developers channel, join it, or just ask for help in the general. I will show you how to join the developers channel. It is open. It's not private, but you have to join it. And you'll be able to ask these questions, and we will love. There are several people, wonderful people like Veronica, Michelle, myself, Jeremy, Enrique, that will love to help you with all your questions and all your answers in there. So please join us with that. I think it's something that I want to solve with you, but I think it's the wrong place to right now figure out the specifics of this. All I want to do is just remind you that you cannot submit usually to an existing one, because I'm not one of the team, and that's fine. But as you can see, I could fork it and create a PR back to this project, and then they will accept my changes, which I know that they want.
Hey Damien.
Yes.
Quick question. I forked that samples API.
Yes.
And so I made it my own. I got my own copy.
Perfect.
I was able to clone it.
Yes.
My computer.
Yes.
I added a screenshot, for example, to the README.
Wonderful. I love it.
But I'm having an issue trying to push it back up to my.
Because in this case, and please excuse me, in this case, I feel it's part of this conversation. If you guys don't mind, let's address that. Would that be okay? I know I was shutting down the other conversation. I was not trying to shut down the conversation, but I feel in this conversation that is relevant to what we're doing right now. Would you all mind if we go ahead and help? Jonathan, was that you, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, Lauren, I'm not trying to shut you down. I do want to do, but I think it's a Git, like we have to look into Git and all that. And I don't mind doing it after the meeting, but because this is part of the contribution, I like to see what's going on in there. What are you having an issue with, Jonathan? One more time. My apologies.
So when I added the image, and I added the code inside of the README, so I could pick up a screenshot, and I did Git add all the good stuff. I did
Wonderful. Love it.
But then when I try to push, I'm getting, like, if I don't have access to my own repo.
You don't have access to your own repo. Can you see that? It would be up to you if you want to share. Would you like to share your screen, or would you like? Yeah. I don't mind using it without it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Yeah.
Okay. Here. So go ahead and click on the very bottom of the screen. So now you can see all of us on the back here, and perfect. And so you have there, perfect. Do me a favor, type in the following. You can go clear, type in clear to get rid of all the things above it. Okay, good. Type in git space remote, and I'll show you all something I wanted to help you with, Laura, that was going to solve a different issue. You're having an issue that I know we can do it there. I'm sorry, remote -v. Yes. Perfect. So here's what we're checking. We can see that Jonathan has followed our instructions and made his own repo. Perfectly fine. Then we're just checking that, Jonathan. And there, can you go ahead and go git status? Okay, perfectly fine. And we can see git g. Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay. Go git push. Yeah. Perfect. Enter. Amazing. Did you recently? It's pretending that you don't have access. It sounds like a permissions issue, similar to what Michelle was having, but I'm sorry, Laura was having, but it should be different. That's the same error I would get if I was trying to submit to your repo, and it looks like you. That's so.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because I have two Git helps. I have my personal and I got my work. So
right. So it does look like you have it on the Senchas. Yes. Right. So you need to switch to the Git credentials for the Jonathan 199.
Do you remember how to do that?
No. I'd have to look into that. I don't want you to do it.
So Jonathan, there is a way to do a Git config to the local repo, not the global. So don't do the Git config global. It is, so I can quickly find.
And we want to make sure that if you start typing your password or something like that, Jonathan, just disconnect your screen from sharing.
Yeah, that's a great.
So
Um,
So it should be just git config dash dash local and then username, user.name,
user.name. Okay.
and then your username in quote. And then you can probably do git config dash dash local, user.email, and the email in quotes. And when you push it, it should ask you for your password.
Oh, cool. I think it took it. Oh, no.
No, still.
That should have been. It looks like well, it probably needs a password. Give it a
Okay.
second.
Yeah, I
and
thought he
don't
would.
do
I
it-
thought he
do
would
it-
ask for his password.
Yeah. Me too. I think you did it right. I think you changed the username, but that's the email that it will show to the rest of the world. That's not the credentials for that. So get. Yeah, that's the name and email that you show to the rest of the world. Like, for example, you could have, that one and all that be different. That's the right thing, but you're not changing credentials. You're changing something else. So both of these, let's take it offline with this the meeting because I don't want. First, I don't want you to put your password in there.
Sounds good. Of course.
Yeah. Perfect. And please, again, for both of these, do meet us on Slack. Stay after the meeting. We can definitely work these out. But I want to just keep in scope with the conversation here. Anybody have any questions?
What's the channel on Slack?
Developer. You caught me. Oh my gosh. How do I not remember that? Developers. Plural dash channel. It's a public channel as long as you go to palmbeachtech.org and just say hi.
Não. 8h30. Porque vocês dão aí muito tarde para acordar, é muito difícil, papo.
Uh-oh. It's too late for Enrique's kids. So that's how much Portuguese I said. Sorry Enrique.
Guys. I didn't realize I was.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. And I agree. It's a little bit late for this young lady. So young person there. So okay, is there any? Did you get through? Did you find the developers channel, Laura?
I'll check it tomorrow, I think, because
Okay.
it's getting late, like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on Palm Beach Tech Slack, so I can just look for the channel.
Perfect. And look out for myself and Enrique, and we'll be glad to help you with that, Laura. I didn't want to at all shut down the conversation. It's just not relevant to this, and I don't want anybody to miss asking their questions but we do want to help you solve that. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody else have any suggestions? Other groups, other Slack channels, anything like that you'd like to contribute?
The Node Cowork project has a really good entry level website. It's
Tell
called
me about
Node To Do, and there's an email, and you'll email them, and then they'll find an issue that's relatively simple.
That is amazing.
That you can contribute to Node.
That is just amazing. And so what's it called? Can you put it on the chat? I'm trying to look for it. I see Azure samples and other things. Like I see like Node.js to-do projects and all that. So
here it is.
Put it in the chat if you don't mind. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's last year I did it, and the guy's pretty active.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to him a little bit throughout the year.
Wonderful contribution, wonderful place. Yes, I love that. So everybody has it in the chat. Now we have it on the video. It's nodetodo.org. Should have gone straight to the website. Definitely a good place. With that in mind, one of the other places is this link here on sort of the slides.bocajs.org. There's up for grabs. There's this link. I guess it goes to up-for-grabs.net. There's Issue Hub. That's something that's linked to in the HactoberFest.digitaloceans.com, which is the website that is for this official. First timers only is another issue that has things that are normally, what they do is you can tag a particular issue that you as a library or project owner have, that you would like to contribute to the world, as this would be a really good one for first timers to contribute to. Usually, by the way, first timers, they mean first time coders. They don't mean first time people doing Git. For that, come to learn. So, hopefully this has helped you. But if there is anything you missed, again, go to youtube.com/BocaJS, and you will see this video. You will see all the other videos of this event. Sorry for the advertising. Do me a favor, there's this silly little button here. I don't know what it does, called subscribe. Click on it and find out if it does something. And we have 206 of you already signed up for that. And anyways, these links are up on slides.bocajs.org. And there's a bunch of different resources there for contributing. And the thing with contributing to GitHub is, as you can see, everybody's excited about it. Everybody knows something you can do. It is so easy and so wonderful and so rewarding. You do something great when you can, instead of getting a free t-shirt, plant a tree. Well, we can all do that, but you will see that you get immense, happiness out of helping other people do something. Jeremy, he'd be jumping up and down with all the projects that he has, that he loves and contributions. He's very, very proud of it. But the most thing he is proud of is that you have all contributed to it. One of the best things I did for myself was made this. I was getting a little bored. Again, I'm part of the management team, so sometimes I have to do a little bit of app remind myself. I used to be a developer, and so I made this for my mom. But what was the best thing about it is this guy right here contributing some major things to it. And I really appreciate that. I want to point that out very much, Enrique. Thank you so much for that. It is a wonderful thing. As a receiver of these contributions, it is incredible. As a giver, you'll feel something, but as a receiver, you feel something, a lot of things. Anything else we want to bring up? Did I miss anything? Please let me know.
Hey, Damien,
yes, sir.
How do we get the T-shirt? Like, it'll get mailed to us?
It definitely gets mailed. It definitely gets mailed. What they do is they wait for you to get all four. You will see it on your website. Once you get all four, they'll then ask you, what do you want, what's your size, what's your postal address, and they send it all. The package usually includes one T-shirt and about 4 or 5 stickers, as well as some, beer coasters, I guess coffee coasters now, and hopefully something virtual nowadays. By the way, before I forget, we have a giveaway. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. I hope the T-shirt is like your donut shirt you got there, man.
You like it? It's good. It's good.
Oh, and they also give credits. DigitalOcean gives you credits.
Thank you.
And some other companies like Datadog and other provider companies.
Thank you so much. Exactly. But by the way, it's linked down here. You get $100 from the DigitalOcean people to give away, to have your own website. Just follow the link at the very bottom. I have a license for anything Jetpacks related that I will give out in just a minute. But definitely check out their $100. And like you said, thank you for that contribution. That there is much more than just those things to come in there. One of the things we'd like to do at the end of this event, again, just simply it's time. I don't want anybody to go without their chance to win one of these, is if you can join me at win.bocajs.org. We are not stopping the conversation, just simply getting to the fun part for some of you guys. Join me there and do me a favor, try to get multiple tickets and see what happens. What could possibly happen? This is actually on my GitHub repo. So if you can figure out what it is, I used to get 14 people 14 different tickets, and there was 2 of you. And I was wondering what's going on here. We figured it out. I think we got it working. We'll find out. If you manage to get more than 2 tickets, I have a way I can figure out you have 2 tickets. But if you can get, say, multiple tickets on the same computer, please tell me how. I'd love to know. And you're welcome.
I got some.
You got a couple? All right. Keep trying. Try to figure out what's going on here. Keep on opening those incognito tabs. I've gotten around
3.
that. 3? Oh, jeez. All right. I never will.
I have 3 different browsers open.
Now you caught me. That I can't do.
I got 2 so far. Yeah.
There you go. I figured people can do incognito modes. You can do your phone, your tablet, things like that. So
I got multiple tags too.
I see that. All right. So you'll notice a couple of different things. Do me a favor, James. In the different tabs, do you have the same number, perhaps?
No, they're different numbers.
In different tabs, you have different numbers? Did I not push out the
different
button?
tags?
But that's on a different profile, though. Like if you keep the same profile, you just have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you guys got some tricks that I didn't know. Oh my! How do I get 1? See? Thought I got you guys. Oh look, I got ticket number 1. I'm so lucky.
No.
Oh look, I got ticket number 1. I'm so lucky. I'm such a lucky man. Keep on getting them ticket number 1. All right. So, oops, I forgot. I gotta choose who is the winner. And the winner is 4. No, that's none of you guys, right? 16. Who has 16?
Let me check.
See, that's the problem with multiple tabs and multiple browsers.
I have 16.
All right. Do you want a license? You've been waiting for that for a long time, my friend.
I do. I need one for PHP Storm.
Okay. So one of the things
last time I passed on it, but this time I need it.
And I really appreciate it. JetBrains has always been our sponsor. We usually have other sponsors from other events and different things. Here's what you can get each time you join us, and each one of the ones that we join, Palm Beach JS and BocaJS. You will see this. You will see this at next week's event. This is any one of these software. You have Kotlin, you have JetBrains. What they do is they ask you for the language, and then they figure out which product you have. I highly suggest PHP Storm, PyCharm. This will be a full years of license, and afterwards you can keep the software, unlike say Photoshop, and you simply don't get any updates, but you get the full software. And trust me, you won't need some of the updates you get a little bit later on. This has been BocaJS. Thank you guys for joining it. You can always go to BocaJS.org and check out my fancy animation here at the very bottom. Please do so. And wow, as you're doing it, even though you hear in your own house, I'm always impressed. Thank you. Even though I was going to say, even though I don't hear it, I always feel something when someone wows over there. We normally meet every single first Tuesday of the month. We're also meeting the last Tuesday of the month. If you see our event page at BocaJS.org, you can always see the next event, in this case being today's event. But in the future, we have some amazing events, including seeing the Ask the Expert. I highly recommend you come join to that meeting. Not only just see it on the YouTube channel, but the Ask Experts is a very popular group, a very popular meeting we usually have where we get some amazing people and you get to ask questions you've never had before. The amazing Jonathan Sanchez is going to do a subject that I'm very, very excited about next month related to React Native. So if you like React and you like mobile apps, come join us to see the magic happen together. That's it for me. My name is Damian Montero. I am done, but this is not over. Thank you very much. And if you guys have anything to say it, because I'm done.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Damien.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Have a good night.
Anytime. Thank you so much.